I'm Melissa Rush with Arizona Gateway Real Estate. Welcome back to my channel. I am a wealth of information on moving to Gilbert, Arizona and the surrounding suburbs. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And if you have any questions or comments about schools or moving to or within Arizona, be sure to comment below so I can get those answered for you. So, if you're moving to Gilbert, Arizona or the surrounding area as well, and you have kids or are planning to have kids in the future, schools is a huge concern. So I really wanted to dive in a little deeper into schools. I did talk about schools a little bit on my pros and cons video, but I wanted to dig a little deeper into that school topic. So two things from the pros and cons video before we get started. One, the fireplace behind me is just a light. It's an electric fireplace. It does not put off any heat. So when I was talking about 118 degrees outside, I'm not crazy. I don't have a fireplace going. It's just ambiance. And secondly, my husband watched my video and he's like, "Oh my God, Melissa, you didn't mention golf." And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're right." So to all my golfing friends, I'm very sorry that I left golf out of a pro for the outdoor activity section because golf is a huge activity out here. Obviously, we love our golfers and our golf courses. They are fabulous and there are so many options out here. So I apologize to all of you golfers. So what prompted me to really want to do this video was when I was doing the pros and cons video, and I mentioned that we started school last week. I realized that there are so many people who are moving here who don't start school until after Labor Day. So if you're thinking about moving here and you're thinking, "Oh, well, my kids start school in the fall, we want to get moved before the kids start school," our kids already started. So if you're not starting school till September and our school started in July and you're not aware of that fact, that's a concern. That's a problem, right? So that's why I wanted to kind of get that out there. Why we do that is that we follow a modified year-round program. So what that basically means is we take 2 weeks off in the fall, we take 2 weeks off for winter break, and then we take 2 weeks off for spring break, and we do a 6-week, a little bit shorter summer. Partially because it's so hot out here that the kids do kind of get bored of swimming and things to do after a while. So it's like, let's just get them back into school. But another reason is I think it really does help with educational retention. So I think it's good. They don't forget as much when they have a little shorter time frame off. It did take a little time to get used to that schedule, but my kids started on it in kindergarten. We really didn't know any different. I just knew different from when I grew up. So that being said, the next thing I tell my clients is that we're a big place out here, right? So I have no way to be able to know every elementary school, junior high, high school. Like if you ask me about a specific school outside of like a small area of Gilbert or Chandler, I'm not going to be able to tell you specific thoughts on that school because there are 270,000 residents in Gilbert, 270,000 residents in Chandler. So that's 500,000 people there. We've got Mesa, Tempe, Scottsdale, Phoenix. I work all of these areas, and there's no possible way I'm going to know every single school. I do know Chandler Unified School District really, really well because my kids have attended there from kindergarten. My daughter's now a senior, and my son is an 8th grader. So I do know those schools really well. But so what I do is I let my clients know that they have resources. So greatschools.org and schooldigger.com are two great websites that you can go to, and they rank schools and they give school ratings. So if you found that home in that neighborhood, you can look up the schools around it and get an idea of how they're doing. And so that's one way that you can kind of look at the school. And then of course you can ask around, you can call the school, maybe see if you can get some references. So there's some things that you can do that way to research the schools. In my pros and cons video, I also talked about how Gilbert loves the art of confusion. And what I mean by that is that just because you moved to the city of Gilbert doesn't mean that your home maps to Gilbert Public Schools. So if you live in Northeast Gilbert, like the Islands or Morrison Ranch, you will map to Gilbert Unified School District. But if you live in more of mid Gilbert, like the Bridges, I'm trying to think, Higley Estates, there's a White Wing up there. You're going to map to Higley Unified School District. And then if you live more in Southeast Gilbert, like Seville Golf and Country Club, Shamrock Estates, Morrison Ranch, I just said up north. Marbella Vineyards, what I meant. Dorada Estates, they map to Chandler Unified Schools. So depending on your neighborhood is going to depend on what school district you actually map to. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to focus a little bit more on Chandler Unified School District, only because that's what I know really well and really specifically. Now, Gilbert Unified School District and Higley Unified School District operate very similar schedules. They also have gifted programs, so they're very similar to CUSD, but as I mentioned, because of my clients and because of my own children, I know CUSD very, very well. So first of all, let's talk about the boundaries. The boundaries around the neighborhoods are not always just little rectangles. So it's interesting sometimes, with quotes on interesting, how the boundaries kind of go around neighborhoods. So you always want to double check where where the home you're looking to buy maps to, because sometimes even the agent that listed it in the MLS may have put it in there wrong. So you want to just be sure. Now, Chandler Unified has what's called open enrollment. So say your home that you're purchasing maps to a neighborhood school. When I grew up, that meant you attended that neighborhood school. We were not allowed to go to a different school. People just didn't do that. And then especially once you got to high school, like if you wanted to go compete in a sport at a different high school, that wasn't allowed. So here it's a little different. I don't know if it was back in the past, but it is now. So open enrollment basically means you can enroll your child in the neighborhood school and you're guaranteed a spot. But if you want to go to a different Chandler Unified School, say you think that the one 2 neighborhoods over is either better rated or closer to work for whatever reason, you can enroll your child there. Now, that neighborhood school, that boundaried school is going to have first priority. But if they have extra spots open, then your enrolled child could attend that school. You can even enroll your child in a school if you don't live in Chandler Unified's boundaries. And that happens a lot with Queen Creek, because Chandler schools have a couple schools that are on Queen Creek land. So there's some Queen Creek families that will enroll their children in Queen Creek schools. So it goes the neighborhood boundary families first. Then it goes Chandler Unified families next, if there's spots that will get into the school. And then it goes open to the families that are outside of the Chandler Unified boundaries that will get into the school. So you will have kids that live in like Queen Creek going to Chandler schools. So that was different for me. That's one thing to know, because it gives you more school choices. Now, also in elementary school options, within CUSD, we do have accelerated programs. So if your kids are very smart, they have CATS, which is the gifted program. They are tested into that. And if you test in, you don't have to go to it. And there are some specific schools that they take them to for those programs. They have EPA, which is the Elite Performance Academy. It is for athletes, so if you are heavy into dance, gymnastics, ice skating, hockey, baseball, whatever, you can go, and it's a condensed day for school, like a 4.5-hour day, and then they actually bus these children to their destinations for their practices. So like say, I grew up, I was a gymnast. We didn't have this option. I would have loved it. If I used to do 4-hour practices because you had 4 hours or 4 events and it's just a long practice. So, they would have bused me to the gym that I went to, and then I could have practiced earlier in the day instead of waiting until I got home and have my parents drive me somewhere. So it's an interesting option if that's something that you wanted your child to have an opportunity to do. And then we have charter schools and private schools. So for charter schools, BASIS charter school ranks nationally in the top 5. So there's BASIS Scottsdale, there's BASIS Mesa, there's BASIS Chandler. These programs are academically highly ranked programs, and they do go through high school. So those kids perform very well statistically on the academic tests. Um, I don't know what else to say other than I know that the the reports out there say Arizona is at the bottom, like the 48th state, right, academically. But that's not because of the East Valley. That's because, like, as a state, as a whole, there are places and areas of the state that perform poorly, and then that brings Arizona as a state down. But the opportunities that are in the East Valley and a lot of our school systems are actually really good in preparing students for their futures. So we do have charter schools. We do have private schools. A couple years ago, we voted in school choice. So parents are actually able to get up to $7,000. They have to do an application process. I don't know all the details of that, which allows them to take the funds that would have paid for a charter or a public school, that they can use those funds towards a private school. So that's part of the school choice program. Now, if we move into middle school, junior high, there are a couple accelerated middle school programs. So you have ACP, which is Arizona College Prep, and you have AMS, which is accelerated middle school, I believe. AMS is through Basha High School. ACP is a separate middle school that maps into ACP High School. They are both 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. They act as middle schools that teach a little, I think they're at least 1 to 2 years ahead of the regular middle school program. And then you have your traditional junior highs, which are just 7th and 8th grade. So those are options that are out here after elementary school. We do also have a couple high schools that have been built. I know one is Castile, which is a CUSD school. Another is Crimson that was just built, but that's a Queen Creek school, that are 7th through 12th. So they are bigger schools. The 7th and 8th graders are pretty separate at Castile, but as long as you have 7th through 12th, there's going to be some blending of the students. So some parents like that and some parents don't. I will say it does really, really prepare them for high school, because by the time they've done 7th and 8th grade and the schools really treat them like high schoolers, like right off the bat, by the time they're in 9th grade, they know what they're doing. So in that regards, it's been a good thing, because both of my kids have gone to a school that was 7th through 12th for 7th and 8th grade. Now, I guess we are to upper education. So my husband also reminded me, I forgot to mention NAU. I'm sorry, NAU. We love Flagstaff. I did not mean to leave you out, but Northern Arizona University, Arizona State University, University of Arizona, and Grand Canyon University are all great options for colleges out here. Arizona State University has Barrett Honors College. They are strong with engineering. They have the W.P. Carey Business School, Cronkite Journalism School, among other degrees. And then they announced that they are going to be opening a medical school. So we'll watch for what comes with that. And then University of Arizona actually has a nursing school campus in Gilbert, Arizona now. So that's pretty awesome. And they have a medical school in Phoenix. So the main campus is down in Tucson. They have pretty much anything medical. They also have some other degrees, but they've got nursing, they've got medical programs, they've got pharm sci. So you really actually can't go wrong with education in Arizona. And I just wanted to make sure that if you're moving here, you knew what all of your options were. So I hope that was helpful, by the way, but if you have questions, again, I might not know every answer that to every question that you have, but I have resources that I can get the answers. So comment them below, or always feel free to message me, email me, even just pick up the phone and call me. I am happy to take your call. So let me know, and I'll get on that next video. So let me know what you want it to be. See ya. Branch, you will map to Gilbert Unified Schools. If you live in mid to South Gilbert, like the Bridges, you will map to, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Gilbert Unified and Queen Creek Unified, and I think a few others are starting on August 2nd and 3rd. I thought today would be a great day, say hello to my little friend, to